All right, guys, this is Mr. Beck again, back with the basic drawing and processing. We got a quadrilateral down here where I ended at the last lesson, okay? So, quadrilateral down here, just wanted to point out a few things about the quadrilateral. It needs four sets of points, okay? Each one has two, so one set, two sets, three sets, four sets there. You also want to go around in either a clockwise orientation or a counterclockwise orientation. You don't want to jump around from points, okay? So my first point is this point here. Then this is my second point. Down here, my third point. Over here, my fourth point. So I have it moving in a circle, okay? You don't want to go from this one to this one over here to this one because then it gives you something that's all twisted up. I can show you that real quick. So I'll just move this to 200 and move this to 400, and you'll see it all twisted up. Okay, there it is. Looks like two triangles on top of each other. So that's not really what we want it to look like. So we switch those back, and it comes out how it's supposed to be. Okay. So that's the quadrilateral command. Pretty simple. You just got to put all those 4 points in there. Okay. The key to this is practice, guys. You always got to practice. You have to continue to work and try to figure out, memorize how the commands work, the parameters for the commands. It's just something you're going to have to do and memorize. You know what I mean? So on a test or a quiz, you can do good if you have them memorized. If you don't, probably going to be pretty hard for you. Okay? I want to try to memorize as many of them as you can. All right. So one other shape I want to talk to you about before we go any further in another video is going to be the arc. But first I wanted to fix up a couple things. You probably saw it already, but my circle in the middle of the screen is a little bit different than the one that you have. I have changed it just a little bit, okay? The center of the circle is still 500, 500, but it's going to be evenly spaced, so it's a perfect circle, 200 by 200. And then the other ellipse, I have it at 450, 450, and then it's going to be 40 in width and 40 pixels in height. Okay, so that gives it up here in the upper left, looks like a little eye. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in another ellipse in that position for the other eye. Okay, so this is going to be 450, 550, hold on. No, 550 on the X and 450 on the Y and 40 and 40. Okay, so there's my ellipse there. It's going to be looking like the other eye of this little face that I'm going to try to make. Okay, so we are talking about the arc command. So that is spelled A-R-C. Okay, what that is a portion of an ellipse. Okay, the code is A-R-C. Then we want the X and the Y position of the center of the arc. We are also going to put the width and the height in there. And then you're going to put the starting angle and the ending angle in for this arc. Okay, so I'm going to draw it real quick and see if we can get it to show up. So I'm going to put the arc at the center of the screen just to get it on there. I'm going to have my arc. The width is going to be, let's say, 150. The height is going to be, say, 50. In the beginning angle, I'm going to put radians 0. And the ending angle is going to be radians 180. Okay? So this is the beginning angle, and this is the ending angle right here. You can do either radians or degrees, so you can use pi, pi over 2, um, or you can use radians, which just seems a little bit easier. We usually use radians in class, radians 0 to 180. So let's see if we can get this to show up on that ellipse that we drew. Okay, there it is right there. Awesome. All right. Now, the center of the arc is at 500, 500, which is right here. You see that? And then the width is 150. The height is only 50, okay? The radian 0 is going to start over here on this left-hand side. I'm sorry, right-hand side. and it's going to go all the way over here to this other side. So it's a straight line, it's a 180 degrees, okay? So it goes that way. Let's say we wanted to make it a deeper looking mouth, so we put 100 here for the height instead of just 50 like we had it, and it's a deeper looking mouth. Okay, let's say we want to put some color in there to make it look more like a real mouth. Here we're going to fill it with a red color. Okay, there it is, filled with a red color. Also, we probably want to move it down just a little bit because it looks a little bit weird, a little bit high on there. Oh, it's supposed to be 255. There we go. So move the X down just a little bit. I'm sorry, the Y down. Why did I say X? The Y down just a little bit, so I moved it down 50. That's quite a bit too much. So let's just move it down, say 20. And there's my smiley face right there. Okay. So another thing about the arc, so this is the beginning, the ending. I told you zeros here on the right side, 180 goes over here to the left. Now let's say we wanted to do an upside down, which is a frown. We'd have to go from 180 to 0, or 180 plus 180 is 360, so we got to go to 360. Okay, you don't want to put 0 in there because it's not going to know what you're talking about, and you're not going to see anything. Here is the frown. Of course, we got to move it down, but that's kind of what the frown should look like. All right. Let me show you what happens if you put from 180 to 0. Okay. So there's nothing there. Okay, because there is no from 180 to 0. From 180 has to go to 360. Okay. So let's say you wanted to get the right side of that arc. So we're going to go from 90 to 270, okay? This is actually the left side of the arc. So let me show you. Looks a little bit different. It's not going to look like the smiley face anymore. So here, down here at the bottom is 90. It's going all the way to 270. So it's 180 degrees, right? So it's going in a straight line over here to 270. Let's say we want a little bit less. Let's say we wanted to go 250 degrees instead of 270, okay? So there it is, going only to 250. Let's say we wanted only a quarter of it. So we want to go only to 180 on this side over here. So we change that ending angle to 180, and we're only going to get a quarter of the ellipse portion. You see it there? So there's a quarter. Let's say we want the right-hand side. We're going to go from 180. We're going to go from 180 to 450. Okay, so we're going to go from a 180 to 450. There is 3/4 of the circle. Okay, that's 3/4 of the circle. So we're going from 180 past 360, and we're going on to 450. Okay, I actually wanted to do this, which is 270 to 450, which is just the right hand side of that circle there, of that ellipse. You see the right hand side of it. Okay. So that's how the arc works. Let's go back to the happy face that we had before. So we're going from 0 to 180. Make sure it's the happy face, correct position, everything. There it is. So this running and running and running you see in my program, this is called testing. Okay, we are testing our program. It's a very simple test, right? We're just running the program to see what the output is. But it's a test nonetheless, okay? So we are testing our program, and we got to do that constantly as we code so that we don't make any big mistakes and then have to go back and change up a bunch of stuff later on. Okay, so the arc, let's say I don't want to fill it up. So I'm going to say no fill here. Then let's say I want only the stroke to be seen. So if I only want the stroke to be seen and I put no fill in that arc, there is no stroke. You cannot see it. So let's change the stroke weight a little bit. So I'm going to put it to 3, see if we see anything there. Still nothing. Okay, let's see if we can change the color of the stroke to black. And there is our arc right there. Okay, so we do have an arc. It's just not filled in like before. Okay, we still have an arc, but it's just not filled in. So you can do that as well. You can make the smiley face. You can make the sad face if you want. Let me just show you real quick. 182, 360. Here we go. So this is the frowning face, if you will. Just the stroke, which is just the outline of that ellipse. Okay, just the outline of that ellipse. Nothing else. We don't want anything filled in. So that's kind of how that looks there. That is the arc in the quad command. So you guys are almost finished with all the basic drawing stuff. It's just one more video that I covered 2 more things, and then you're going to be able to make some really cool drawings, some really cool stuff in processing, okay? So good job here, and I will see you guys in the next video, okay? Thank you.